Welcome to Trader TV. I'm Dan Barnes. Joining me today are Rebecca Healey and Matt Coupe, the co-chairs of the EMEA Regional Committee, to give us an update on the FIX Trading Conference that occurred on 18th of September, some takeaways from that event, and some lessons that the industry can learn. Matt, Rebecca, welcome to Trader TV.
Thank you.
Hi, Dan.
They had a great time on Friday at the FIX conference. I wanted to ask you, first of all, what were the highlights for you?
For me, the key theme that stood out loud and clear was global collaboration within the industry. So in actual fact, talking to heads of buy side, it doesn't matter whether you sit in Sydney, London or New York, you're still facing the same challenges in making that shift to working from home. Will the technology stand up? It did. There's huge positives. People talking about reduced market hours, improved mental health. But now it's sort of looking at the elements that don't work. How do you manage a team? How do you bring up your junior members of staff? How do they get career progression? These are elements that we now need to look at and recognise as challenges that the industry's got to face.
Absolutely. Matt?
The amazing thing was the take-up on the day. We had over 1,600 people registered on the day. We had, thousands of people dialing in. A number of emails that Rebecca and I have had over the last few days have been actually a virtual platform was really accessible. It was really good. I got to network with more people than I do normally at a big event. It was heartwarming and really, real positive experience. And I think people weren't dwelling on the challenges that we face. It was actually being collaborative in terms of how do we solve this?
Yeah.
The golden moment was with Greg from ASIC, where he said, look, we've got a huge amount of over-implementation, duplicate fields, which were needing to be implemented multiple times that mean the same thing, but in different regions. And they said kicking off a program to reduce that, cut the red tape and deliver more effectiveness.
And then Rebecca, do you think there are any specific lessons that attendees will have learned?
Firstly was the regulatory commonalities that are starting to emerge. Greg's comments on the need to cut red tape. That was reiterated by Tilman Luder from the European Commission, Philippe Guyot from AMF. There is that need to become much more agile, particularly in relation to ESG and climate change. But it was also the fact that we're probably going to see further regulation. There was a call to arms by the MEP Paul Tang, just in terms of him suggesting that the industry really needs to get behind the economic recovery post-COVID. They're actually demanding a cultural change within financial services that I think many within financial services would welcome. And FIX is the perfect opportunity to improve the collaboration between industry participants and actually make that change.
What do you think the FIX community as a whole is taking away from the event?
We can, as an industry, do things differently. We can challenge and change things. We should be looking to collaborate and we shouldn't be stuck in our region. We need to make things a global discussion. That will be a lot more effective and will deliver more efficiency in our markets and a better outcome for the end investor.
As we move to a more sustainable environment and the need for the whole sort of ESG, the data, the reporting, that's going to move the industry onto another level when it comes to financial services and what's required. So on the ESG panel, when they were talking about the level of data that they now need to incorporate, which is non-financial data. It's rapidly becoming a spaghetti of information. And now more than ever, we need the ability to have standardized framework, best practice to make sure that people can get the relevant information to where it needs to be. So we've really got an opportunity here to level set, to work out what we did well in MiFID II and how we can take that forward. I think it was very telling, actually, in the wrap-up session that we had with Larry Tabb, where historically, obviously, we've received a lot of regulation out of the US.
Yeah.
Now it's going in the opposite direction. So actually, some of the ideas that were being discussed on sort of in a European platform over the last few years are actually now going stateside. So this idea of a financial transaction tax, periodic auctions, it's reiterating the global nature of our markets And now we actually need a global response.
I think the other thing is, it's data. Whether you're looking at the ESG market, whether it be fixed income markets or equities markets, to understand what's going on, feeding into the consolidated tape and addressable liquidity. You're looking at it from a fixed perspective. Data needs to have those standards. It needs to have the business application of what does the data mean. So you've got that commonality and that real core, strong demand from data for the trading participants in the industry. We need to make sure we sort that out and we provide that context to it.
Yeah, the data has to mean something to be of value, and it can only mean something if it's accurate and it's being interpreted in a similar manner. And I think, again, that's really where FIX comes into its own.
That's excellent. Rebecca, Matt, thanks very much, and thanks for a great event.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dan.
I'd like to thank Matt and Rebecca for their insights today, FIX Committee for organising the event on the 18th, and of course you for watching. To catch up on our other shows or to subscribe to our newsletter, go to tradertv.net and etftv.net.